Hey there, welcome to another conversation of the 3-Tip Bit. Thanks so much for joining us today. I've got another amazing friend of mine, Heidi Hoium. Heidi, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off right to you. Tell us who you are, what you do, and who you do it for.
Perfect. Well, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be a part of this. So I'm Heidi Hoium, and I'm the owner of Ironworks Team Consulting. So we have a consulting business that really focuses on helping financial advisors clarify and articulate their vision, but then reverse engineer that into what are the systems, processes, how do we build a team around this, really taking all the pieces to the puzzle that you get through podcasts and books and all the other information sources you have, and put it together to create the picture of the business that you really want. So we primarily work with those advisory teams that are a little bit bigger, a little bit more complex, and are starting to deal with the multiple staffing and how do we communicate, and which is really relevant right now, how do we leverage technology to do a lot of that stuff?
I love it. And so, Heidi, you've been doing this for a little while, have a lot of experience, and I'm curious of all the things that you could share with our listeners today. If you could just pick 3 of those things, what are the 3 tips of insight that you want to share with us today?
Yeah, so when I was thinking about this, I think a little bit of a mix of some just things you should be doing anyway, but then also some things that are just more relevant right now, given our current situation. So the number one thing, by the time this actually gets out to people, I think people have been inundated with work from home tips, and there's like 8,000 tips out there. As I was thinking about this, I think the thing I would encourage everybody to do is to just really keep in mind your own profile and understand that not everybody works the same. So give yourself a little grace. I heard you say that in your little tips that you did as well, but be patient with yourself. And just because you're having a hard time focusing week 1, keep at it, keep trying different things, connect with friends and colleagues that have similar personalities and profiles to you, because there's a variety of ways to tackle this and you will be able to do it. We also are actually going to be launching a little bit of a community ourselves to try to connect people in similar roles with similar hardwiring to be able to share those tips and tricks with each other. So you can stay tuned for that. And then tip number 2, everybody allow yourself to feel the reality of this situation. Absolutely. And I understand that some are feeling it more than others, but as soon as you're able, if not already, try your best to see this as an opportunity and have a positive attitude around that. And as soon as you can start to see the opportunity in it, you're going to find the space mentally and emotionally to carve out time to work on the business, which is some key projects and initiatives that most people never have time for, and so now we hopefully have time for it. So, lay out a game plan, have a project map where you can get your team involved, have them accountable to contributing to some of those initiatives. Make sure that you have the right infrastructure in place so that when we rebound out of all of this stuff, you have that foundation in place to fully take advantage of all the opportunities that are going to come your way. So I was talking to a client the other day, and she had a great analogy. She talked about, like, if you're going to shoot a rubber band, we're in the pullback right now. So do the work right now so that as you release and as we rebound, you're able to really increase the trajectory you would normally go on. So some of the things just for specifics on that I would suggest you work on: workflow. How are you flowing between your team, and how are you including technology in those bids? I know this is forced upon a lot of people, but the more you can do this, the better off you're going to be. Segmentation is another thing that some of our clients have actually commented how much the fact that we've done all of that segmentation work, created the views in CRM, it's helping them to communicate with their clients in this time of trouble even more effectively. So that's another one, really defining out what are your team metrics and accountability and key drivers that even though you're not physically together, everybody on the team can be contributing to how to best position your business going forward. So, and then number 3, kind of similar to number 2, they may have some overlap, but I would really just encourage the owners and the partners and the advisors who are leading these firms to go back to your business plan for the year and check in. How are you doing? Are you doing anything that you meant to do? What are the things that you need to adjust and tweak so that everybody can stay on track with a plan, given that this is obviously a curveball nobody could have expected? How clear is your vision? How are you utilizing that vision to lead your team well through this change? And then I think a lot of the advisors that we work with, when we start working with them, their business plan actually just consists of production numbers. So if that is you, and when you're reviewing your business plan, there isn't a lot to review right now, take this time to actually go back and build a robust plan. I think you mentioned this, Lindsay, like this is a great time to educate yourself and develop yourself. And there are so many resources to teach you how to do this piece of the business. So go back and read 12-Week Year, read Traction, read any of those books that help you really think through how to put together just a well put together plan that your team can follow and be a contributor to.
I love that. Okay, so let me see if I can remember, because you gave us a lot of good stuff. The first is give ourselves a little grace, right? I think especially those of us who have high achiever in our personalities can tend to take these moments, and if we're not high productivity, we can go into a dark hole in a dark place. But the reality is that part of productivity might be to rejuvenate and rest and reset. So giving ourselves a little bit of grace, I love that. Also looking at our actual plans, right? And what we've done this year, especially, I think this is actually number 3, but we're at the end of Q1, right? So now is a good time to revisit our annual goals. And like you said, if from a bones plan standpoint, if we don't have that in place, now's a good time to probably look at putting some of those meat on the bones, if you will. And I just love all the specific examples you gave, especially when it comes to, looking at staying educated and staying informed and staying connected with people, utilizing, technology like we're doing today. I mean, we've been all over. I think we've seen each other more in the last week than we have in the last month, right? So
we have.
So it's been great. So Heidi, you and your team work nationally. So tell us how we can connect with you. How can we find you? And what are the best places and ways to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. We're on not all of the social channels actually, but Facebook is probably where we're most active. So you can find us on Facebook. And then our website is ironworksconsult.com. So we're going to be posting some links on our website also on some ways that we are offering, like a lot of people are doing, just as a free resource to try to get people unstuck and get them focused and give them a direction. So we're going to be launching what we're calling Ironworks Take 10. And so you can find the link to schedule 10 minutes with us to just talk through sounding board, problem solve with you. You can find that on our website.
I love that. Thank you. Always giving us an access, which is great. Those of you who've already listened know that I've mentioned strategic coach a few times. Heidi is actually in strategic coach as well. And so Heidi, you know that at the beginning of meetings, we always start with a positive focus. So I'm taking that idea and flipping it on its head, and we're actually going to end our conversation with a positive focus. So what's one thing that you'd like to share with us that makes you happy?
Well, I was trying to think about that, and as it's like rainy and gloomy and gross outside of Minnesota right now, we Minnesotans have been talking about spring, and one of my most favorite things in the entire world is boating. And so we are on the countdown to launching the boat, although marinas are closed right now, but we've been talking about creative ways to get around that. So I absolutely cannot wait to get back on the water. Just the water is my happy place. I could be doing anything on the water and I will be smiling. So that is my happy point.
Love it. Love it. Awesome. Everyone, thanks so much again for tuning in. Really appreciate just your support and encouragement. Thanks for checking in and listening to these amazing people who I'm introducing you to. Be sure to follow Ironworks on Facebook and reach out to Heidi and take them up on their Take 10. We'll see you on the next 3 Tip Bit. Thanks for tuning in.